How's everybody doing? All right, so it looks like I gotta give you my spiel. Here's my spiel. I'm from New Jersey, and we have this saying in New Jersey. I started doing spoken word on the trains in New York, so that you can have an understanding of what I'm about to say. So we have this saying in New Jersey, 1 or 1,000. If it's one person or 1,000 people, you're going to get the same show. Now, the only thing that I need, I'm going to perform in front of you like you're 1,000 people. I need you to sound like 1,000 people coming back at me. The title Entropy is because entropy means that you can't return to the same state that you were once you've been changed. If I don't change you tonight in some form, or some little way, I would say ask for your money back, but I'd be lying. But that's my mission tonight. So y'all ready to get started? Yeah! I said spoken, you say word, spoken? Word! Y'all went down to like 500 like that. I say spoken, you say word, spoken? Word! You say higher, take it, higher, take it, higher, spoken, word, take it, higher, spoken, word, take it, higher. All I have in life is right now. Right now, I don't know what's going to happen because there are a lot of right nows happening right now. But I do know I like to make this now the best now it can possibly be, and you can help me by repeating after me. So please repeat after me. I dedicate this perfect now.
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 Possibly be.
To make the best now it can possibly be.
We don't have time to concern ourselves with the petty things in life, minimizing our nouns. A friend of mine once told me there are a plethora of personality types in the world. One definite factor in life, meeting assholes is unavoidable. Assholes have but one purpose, to poop. And they will poop on you with no regard simply because that's who they are. Assholes. But an asshole's position low on the body meaning you have to be lower than an asshole in order to be pooped on by one. So the trick to avoid being pooped on is to never allow yourself to be lower than an asshole. Please repeat after me again. I have no time to be pooped on.
I have no time to be pooped on.
All I have is now.
All I have is now.
Cleaning up other people's poop is time consuming.
Cleaning up other people's poop is time consuming.
Another friend was asking me, yo, when you perform, where do you breathe from? I don't know, I said from my stomach, from my lungs. Wrong answer, he replied. When you breathe, inhale from the edge of the universe. Start from the limits of all that you know, then breathe deeper. Smell pineapple Hawaii, go to New Orleans, find out if starlight is just a God fart. Because the Big Bang could have been a bad case of gas. We can't think past our vocabulary, but we can imagine what doesn't exist. Think about it. The automobile and all of its parts at one time were just thoughts. Thoughts are real. The physical is illusion. Stretch your mental limitations. Imagine what you want, believe, and it will be. Like I believe I can fit infinity into now. Because you will remember me like I will remember you as being one of the greatest audiences I ever performed in front of. And we will remember this as one of the greatest moments of our lives. So good we just can't wait to go tell somebody who will tell somebody who will tell somebody who will tell somebody, making us all immortal. Please repeat after me one last time. We are here now.
We are here now.
Because now is where we are supposed to be.
Because now is where we are supposed to be.
Mortality happens in our hearts, but we live in our minds. Have you ever had an argument with someone who saw the very same occurrence, you saw the very same moment occurring, and somebody saw two totally different occurrences? Y'all caught that? Y'all really saw that?
Yeah.
Have you ever had an argument with someone who saw the very same occurrence you saw, the very same moment it occurred, and somehow you saw two very different occurrences?
Yes.
It's all perception. Reality is exactly how you perceive. The problem is we are all entitled to our own perceptions. Life should be paradise. Hell is your life gone wrong. Impossible is just the stuff you haven't done yet. Think of the goldfish. When kept in a small bowl, it can only grow to a size comparable to its environment. But once you set that goldfish free, it will grow 2 and 3 times its size. Grow past all that you know to increase the qualities of your nows. Inhale inspiration. Exhale wonder. Remember, right now is all you have. So constantly ask yourself, how can I make this now the best now it can possibly be? So, I guess I should tell you, I got a lot of stuff to tell you tonight. So that first piece was just the first piece. That's the one that, you know, you clap for. That's what I do. I'm a spoken word artist. I do that stuff as a living when I'm not doing stuff with kids. I started off doing this, I just went to an open mic one day. Somebody told me that I look like I can do it. So they was like, you know, you look like you can do poetry, and I was like, well, I do write. So there was, you should go and do poetry, and then go to this place in Brooklyn and go there, and they'll help you out. So I was at the Brooklyn Moon, and the Brooklyn Moon at the time, like I wanted, it was so cool. Like you go in there, and one day Mos Def is in there sitting next to you, or Erykah Badu is sitting next to you. It was like Brooklyn at that time was this beautiful spot of like before everybody got famous kind of place, and this competition came out of Chicago called Slam. How many people know about Slam? All right, so Slam came out of Chicago, and everybody was competing. And in New York, the slams in New York were like $300 to $500. So I took this thing and I was like, yo, I really hate the idea of competing, because all of my poetry was mostly stories that I used to tell. It was just, you know, whatever kind of stories I would write, and I would get on stage and do them. So I had this whole idea that, what if I do anti-competition poems in competition? I talk bad about the people who are competing. And it would go something like, I could slam, but why should I when I play tops with God using cops? I could slam, but why should I when I play tops with God using comets as caps, ice as weights held in place using outer space as wax? I could slam, but I'd rather express my discourse being a foundating force supporting the system I surpass with our solar gas, gassed in shadows and melanin. Currently, currency considers me felon for having rhythm, making stars dance, disrupting the gravity, sustaining worlds that orbit around the darkness of cosmic order, because it's all about the almighty dollar, right? I could slam, but why should I when I spy third eyes that lead the blind to a pastime of genocide, then commit suicide, then after all of the slam poets die, only the real poets survive? Why should I slam? I mean, what would it be for when half the poets that's been here before me, been here before eternity, and half the poets before me drop God Knowledge Comedics 101 of their own personal history and their poetry, and half of them talk about the mistreatment of women, and half of them talk about sexual positions. I bet half of them don't know the half about half the shit they spitting, and when given half the chance of one of you ladies what they say they could do in a slam poem that lasts about 3 minutes, you'll find they can't go half the distance. Not even a minute 29 seconds up in it before they're finished. See, I add the mathematics and find that without a fraction of what we claim to be, when the measurement of a person is the sum total of their intentions as well as their deeds. But being that you can't see what a poet does once they leave the stage, slam has become fantasy like cornflakes in a married couple sexual escapade. Unless we're coming from the heart when we do this here, we're just cheating on our lives, and reciting poetry is just another way to get paid. I could slam, but why should I when the problems of the world weigh so heavy on my mind, my own two legs can't stand the shit I have to say? I could slam, but what would be the point anyway? Because when I step up to the stage and hit the microphone, the majority is only concerned that I leave them just entertained. So that didn't go over well in New York. That didn't go over well in New York at all. They didn't. They were like, you can't compete in a competition, win the competition, keep the money, and do all poems talking bad about being in the competition. They were like they really didn't like that idea. But I would win because like, I had rent to pay, and it was $300 on the line, so anyway, my mother had faith in me. My mother did everything she could to keep me out of bad situations, but I grew up in Newark, New Jersey in the 70s, so I grew up in the middle of bad situations, pretty much, and so no matter how hard she tried to keep me out, they were there. But she put me in Catholic school. Put me in, I went to prep school. I graduated high school 2 years early because I was like, my mom would literally stick me in front of a mirror with words, with my spelling words and my vocabulary words. And when I get finished with the words, she would give me a new list of words. And the only thing I could do is like recite these words over and over and over again while looking at myself in the mirror. So if you want to know how to raise a poet and you have a kid, there you go. My mom wanted me to go to college. I didn't want to go to college. I should have listened to her. I went to the Army instead, and I went to Desert Storm, came back from Desert Storm and went to prison directly from Desert Storm because I just, the reintegration wasn't, there needs to be something for reintegration for soldiers. I'm just going to say that, put that there, and we'll figure it out. And while I was in prison, my mother couldn't believe that her baby was in jail. She couldn't fathom like what happened. Otherwise, but she had no idea that while she was working 3 jobs to put me in Catholic school, I was stealing cars and selling drugs on the side. I was about as a kid. So I did what kids do in Newark. Not anymore, kids don't do that anymore. I wasn't a bad kid, I was just a kid. I feel like I put my foot in my mouth. So anyway. So I wrote my mom this letter, which ended up becoming one of these poems. I wrote 3 poems, and all 3 of these poems ended up winning me $10,000 in 2007. And this is one of the poems. It was a letter to my mom, and it's a pretty good piece. I like it. So here. Mama, you carried up the Calvary your burdens of life, joys to misery. Resurrected before you was 1/3 of your greatness personified in me. Yet I cannot begin to tell you what I've been through. You wanted to raise a Christ-like leader. I, lacking a baptismal of male guidance, chose the company of thieves, thugs, and drug dealers to provide a father figure. We embraced each other with triggers, played hide-and-go-seek with poverty and liquor, for sobriety was a constant reminder that I had to do better than my environment. Mama, sometimes I wonder how things might have been different had I had a positive male influence. Our block was always packed with wild packs and ghetto bastards. All of us had daddies that we call uncle as long as the sex lasted. All of us had girlfriends that called us daddy as long as the sex lasted. And you know better than anyone that no one could tell me nothing, for I knew it all. You paid attention to these broken-hearted, street-shackled, shattered masculine images who took our dollars to cop our spirits. Sipping fifths of wisdom, passing knowledge wrapped in brown paper bags. Drunken lessons had me believing if a man walks away from a fight, he's a punk. And if he walks away from a girl, he's a fag. We formed crews like Hooterville and Avenues, have Mac lines like, baby, with all that